To call the February 6th, 2025 meeting of the Fitchburg Board of Health to order. I would just say that there are opportunities for the public to speak during our meeting. If there is someone who wishes to speak in the public forum, I would just ask that you stand at the podium so that you can use the microphone and we can hear you. We'd ask that you state your name and the community in which you reside. We like to try to limit the amount of time spoken on each item to about 2 minutes, but that's flexible. And if there is a petition or order or ordinance or resolution number that you're speaking to, if you happen to know the number of it, that would be helpful. I think before we get into the agenda, I would just like to say that currently board members who remain on the board are Diane Tousignant to my right, and myself, John Bagdasarian, who is the chairman of the board. Ian Murray, who has been with us for, I think, 7 or 8 years, maybe more, has 14, okay, 14 years, time flies, and was a previous chairman, has sought not to seek reappointment to the board for this current go-around. I would like to say, though, that it was my great pleasure to work with Ian. He was always ready with sage advice. He was quiet, but when he said things, they were always right on, were important to listen to, and I think he provided great service to the Fitchburg Board of Health and to the community. I think he's just gotten busy with family and other things now, so that he's had to move on. But I think we're going to miss having Ian's sage advice, although Diane does a good job filling in too. So, and I think eventually we will get back up to the 3 members on the board, and we'll kind of keep in touch as that occurs. So, again, with that said, I think the first item on the agenda has to do with the ticket hearing, and it's being held at the request of Mr. Cameron Chromiak, who is the property owner at 27 Pratt Street, regarding ticket number 8106 and a fine of $100. And I would declare the hearing open at this time. I've already introduced myself and the Board of Health members, and so I think we can not do that again. This is a hearing in which all parties affected shall be given an opportunity to be heard, to present witnesses or documentary evidence regarding the issues to be discussed. Every notice, order, or other record prepared by the Board of Health in connection with the hearing shall be entered as a matter of public record in the office of the Board of Health. At the conclusion of this hearing, the Board of Health will make a decision whether to sustain, modify, or withdraw the order issued, or take any other action it deems necessary. The Board of Health shall inform the petitioner in writing of its decision within not more than 7 days after the conclusion of this hearing, and if the Board of Health sustains the order, it shall be carried out within the time period allotted in the original order or in the modified order. I ask that we respect one another during this period, be respectful one to each other, and hopefully no hostility or belligerence will be encountered. I would like at this time to ask any persons who plan to give testimony at this hearing to answer the following question. Do you solemnly swear and confirm the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thanks very much. And I don't know if you have any documents that you wish to...
I didn't bring any.
Okay.
So yeah, I was issued some fines because I leave my trash bins on the street.
Okay, just before you go on,
Yeah, sure.
I think we do have a copy, or at least I've been given, I think Diane has too, of the ticket that was submitted to you I think back in January 9th it was. So go ahead and speak on it.
They're not bothering anything. Also, I don't know about you guys, my knees hurt. I have a lot of stairs to bring them up. So, every week I have to bring them down and up, and there's a risk of me spilling all the trash, and I don't want to litter. They're not really bothering anything on the street again. I don't know if it's beef between the city, someone driving by, or my neighbors. If it's a neighbor, it's only one I can think of. He could have just come talk to me. If it's the city, again, not really bothering anything. The street's still wide enough, sidewalk's still plenty wide enough. Number 3, also really important to me, I like to leave a public trash receptacle out there so anyone can use it. Helps clean up this city that I have the privilege of living in every week. So that's why I leave them out there.
I see. So just to clarify a few things, are you talking about both the recycling and the trash barrels?
Correct.
They're both there?
Yeah.
And you say it's hard to take them up and down. What
Yeah,
kind
there's stairs, so my house is elevated.
Yeah. How many stairs would you say about?
It's probably 10 feet
I see.
of elevation. It's not my main reason, but it's also annoying as hell in the winter when it's icy.
Yeah.
Rule 2, or reason number 2, not really bothering anything down there. It's not like they stick out like, oh my God, he's ruining the neighborhood.
Yeah. So are they right on the curb, or are they on the sidewalk, or what?
So there's a street, it's probably 5 feet of sidewalk, and then they're up against the bottom of my steps. So you still have, I don't know, 3.5 feet to walk by.
I see. And at this time that the ticket was issued, were the barrels empty at that time, or were they full? Do you know?
Ongoing. I mean, I leave them down there.
So you take the trash up and down, and
No. The barrels stay at the end of my steps.
no, but how do you get the trash into them? Do you
I walk down my stairs.
with the trash? In
Yeah.
other words, yeah, and put it in the barrels. So rather than take the barrels up and put the trash in them, you take the trash down to the barrels?
Correct.
And on this occasion, when the ticket was issued, were the barrels upright, or have they been tipped over, or?
They're usually upright.
Yeah.
Sometimes they knock them over.
When you say they, who's that?
After the waste management comes and dumps them, sometimes they're laying down.
Yeah. Do they get dumped over by anyone else, by pedestrians or
No.
drivers, or
No, they're off the street.
they're too
Yeah,
far
like-
back?
They're as close to my property as you can get them.
Yeah. Right. Is there anything else? So you've been issued this ticket, and is this, by the way, the first ticket that you've been issued, or?
I got one back in like September,
I
and
see.
then they sent me another one. I don't know who's reporting that, if it's the city like driving by. And again, if it's like a neighbor, there's only 2, and there's only one who would affect, so he can always just come talk to me.
When it was issued back in September, was for a similar kind of transgression, I guess I'd say? In other words,
Yes.
same thing?
Yeah,
And were you fined at that time?
I was.
Did you pay that fine?
No.
No, okay. All right. Is there anyone else who has,
I have a question, Cameron.
Yes,
Are we talking about one trash barrel and one recycling barrel?
correct.
And it's a single home?
Yes.
Thank you.
did you, go ahead.
You want me to speak?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I done here, or do I need to wait?
You
You
can,
would hold on.
Okay.
You may have some questions for
Okay.
Mr. Bernard, who's the inspector.
All right, so I'm Matthew Bernard. I'm one of the health inspectors with the city. So at the time, Mr. Chromiak owns 27 Pratt Street as well as the next door 33 Pratt Street. I believe he sold 33. I'm not 100%, but Basically, both properties were in violation simultaneously at the same time. I did send orders to both addresses on September 5th of last year. They did not contain a fine at that time. I monitored it, but it never went away. Therefore, on January 2nd, I issued the first fine to each property of $50 apiece as separate properties. I believe the one that he appealed is, you said ticket number 8106?
Yes.
Which was the one for $100 issued directly to 27 Pratt Street. But I also issued a second one to 33 Pratt Street for the same $100 after the initial $50 one.
Right.
So in the meantime, I have taken pictures in the beginning of January all the way up until today, as a matter of fact, and the barrels are day in, day out, same spot on the curb, and I have that if you'd like to see them.
I'd like to see them.
Okay.
So Inspector Bernard, 27 Pratt Street and 33 Pratt Street both have received $50 and $100 fines, correct?
And maybe someone could just educate me in terms of what the regulations are with respect to trash barrels. Where they, by regulation, need to be kept.
Sure. So in the City Code 112-7, it explains that trash barrels are to be brought out to curbside for collection no earlier than 12 hours before pickup and must be removed from curbside within 12 hours after pickup. So I believe his trash day is Tuesday. So by Tuesday night, technically, they should be brought in off curbside and stored in an area that does not create a nuisance. So most of these, like today it's Thursday, they were out. One of the pictures I have is a Wednesday, they're out. And then another one on another Thursday, they're out. So that's the city ordinance.
And I think you clarified it when you say they should not be at curbside. Essentially, they have to be, well, these pictures look like they're pretty much on the curb, but that might have been on collection day, but still they need to be taken back from a place where they would not be on the sidewalk or in the way or creating danger.
Creating a nuisance to surrounding areas, correct.
So one of those pictures is from today?
Yeah, I believe the last two, on the back of the pictures, I wrote the date of the picture.
Okay.
So I believe the last two should have been from today.
So the state sanitary code, as well as the city of Fitchburg city code, the city code is a little bit more stricter than the state code. Requires residents to remove barrels from curbside, as Mr. Bernard mentioned, 12 hours before and 12 hours afterwards. They need to be stored on the property somewhere which does not create a nuisance.
Okay. And there's another code mentioned in our agenda, Code 112-7 is
Yes, that's the collection and disposal of household waste,
okay.
which is the one that has the 12-hour removal.
Okay. Well, I can understand Mr. Kroniak's displeasure at this, but it seems to me that he's been warned. I think this is the third time now. One time he wasn't fined, the next time he was fined and didn't pay that, and now this third time. And he looks young enough to be able to take the trash barrels up and down, especially taking them back when they're empty. Sounds like he maybe is walking even more when he has to take the trash back and forth each time rather than having it in one place, putting it there, and then taking the trash barrels down once a week to do. I'm a lot older than he is, and I have a lot further to go, and I managed to do mine. So I think I'm not inclined to allow this to have occurred. If it was a first-time transgression, maybe so, but this is really the third time, and second time was ignored in terms of paying the fees. So I personally, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
It looks like in one of those pictures, like there are trash cans tucked in on the side of the house. And so, is that your house with it? Have you seen the pictures, Cameron? No. Would you like to look at the pictures? So it looks like in one of them that the trash cans are tucked over to the side a little bit. I don't know if that's your address or if that's 33.
Yeah, I don't own that one anymore.
Okay.
I tried to give that fine to the tenants there. They slapped at it, but they all got evicted in January, and I don't own that one anymore. So,
How long have you not owned 33?
like, when I got the fine from him for 33, I gave it to the tenants there, and they just told me to get the fuck out of here. So I'm not going to pay that one. If that's okay with Mr. Bernard.
So when this last fine was issued, you were not the owner at that time? Because this is January 9th, it says.
Yeah, we wrapped up on that on January 31st. So, like, yeah, I'm the owner. I don't live there. Those aren't my trash cans. They have 2 steps. They can bring them up. I can tell them. I can give them the fine. But it's in the past now.
Well, did you have something you want to add or another question, Diane? Or?
I'm just wondering if at your property, Cameron, if there is a place where they could come up just even the first couple of steps and tuck behind, it looks like maybe there's shrubs or bushes or something there? If they,
Yeah, I'll put them there. But for the record, this is not how I store my trash cans on the regular. They're not in the street,
okay.
because that would be a nuisance.
Yeah, and you know, there's, in all those pictures, there's snow, and you know, we've had the snow and we've had the ice, and there they are.
Is that a nuisance?
Well, I will just interrupt and say, but this went back to September the first time where there wasn't snow and ice, I think, and
So it's even better. There's even more room to walk.
yeah. Anyone have anything else to add or anything I haven't asked or?
Those microphones work. These work?
So I agree that sometimes barrels where they're kept aren't considered technically a nuisance, but it is a city ordinance, and it does say in black and white that they need to be removed from curb. So me letting him do that, and then a guy down the street 3 houses down I'm going to fine him too for leaving him on the curb, then unless he applies for a variance and you guys give him a variance to keep him on the curb, then I'm not going to do anything. But I mean, I write these fines out all over the city all the time. Most people get it and they bring them in, and sometimes I have to remind them a few months later. But I mean, if he's saying that he's not going to bring them in because they're not creating a nuisance, then I have a job to do, so I'm going to keep going after him until he does.
Well, I think that's fair, and it sounds as if the first time you didn't fine him.
No, I
just
did not.
Warned him essentially, and
Right.
kind of like a speeding ticket. You know, you get warned and then you go back and do the same thing, probably going to get into some trouble. So I would make a motion that these fines be paid. I think I'd be willing to just, to be kind, forego the $50 one, but I think the $200 fines, I would make a motion that we ask that they be paid.
Well, I'd argue the 33 Pratt Street one, not my responsibility. I'll pay the 27 Pratt one. I realize you're just doing your job.
Well, you were the owner of it on that date, right?
Yeah, I was. I don't live there. They're not my trash cans. I can tell them as many times as I want. It's not going to do them any good if they're bums.
Go ahead.
So
Excuse me.
One thing that's made clear as well is even multifamilies, the owner, whether they live next door or they live in Texas, the owner is responsible.
Yeah. You know, so I would go back saying that I think these fines should be paid. If you can go to those folks and convince them that they pay. No, I know.
That's not happening.
But it was your property and that.
Anymore anyway, so he doesn't own 33 anymore anyway, so now technically, as far as the future goes, he's not responsible, but 27, he is. But yes, when I did write the fines, he was the owner of 33 at that time.
Yeah. Well, maybe then, way to deal with that would be to say, all right, we'll drop the fine at 33, but then we'll ask that you pay the $50 and the $100 fines at 29. I think you're still getting off a little bit easier that way.
Sound good to you, Mr.
Yes,
Bernard?
I'm okay with taking off 33 Pratt Street.
We'll take it off this time, but of course, if they continue to violate.
Well,
you're
right,
not
but he's
just-
not, right, he's not the owner anymore, so it'll be a new person.
Yeah, but you're not the one who's taking the trash up and down from 33, even though you don't own it, right?
No.
Yeah, so you have nothing to do with it at all.
I have nothing to do with that.
All right. Okay, I'll make the motion that we ask that the fines for early, I guess was December and January,
January, yep.
50 and the $100 fines for 27 Pratt Street be paid. We will forego the 33 Pratt Street, but of course, should they violate in the future, we'll start the whole process again for the new owners at that point.
Yes.
Okay, I have two questions. You had said that if people are not able to carry their trash up and down, as Cameron is saying, that he can apply for a variance. Do you know how that could happen?
I do know how to apply for a variance.
Okay,
My knees hurt, not that bad though.
okay. And not so bad that you can't apply for a variance, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I would just interrupt again. I think if your knees hurt, it's better to make one trip than to, I don't know how many times you're going up and down taking individual bits of garbage to those cans. If they were close by, your knees would be easier, it seems to me. Anyway,
So the second question I have is, there was a fine earlier for $50, and was then the $100 fine, is that just adding to that? Or,
Those are two separate offenses.
so
The reason why is it goes in steps. So the first ticket is a 50,
Yeah.
second one will be 100, third one will be 150, and then technically everyone after that is 150 on top of everything preceding that.
So what is the total fine right now, 100 or 150?
For each
It looks-
prop, well, we're going
150.
to waive 33, correct? We're going to motion to waive that. So then the total would be 150 for 27 Pratt Street.
Okay. I'll second the motion.
okay, thank you. So that passes. Sorry about that, but we have to do it. And thank you very
Okay.
much.
Matt doesn't care about public trash receptacles.
It's not my law.
Mr. Chromiak, if I
Yeah.
could suggest, let us know, if you could even email me the occupants of the property. You said that you do not live there. So if you would email us your address as well as the occupants that live at 27,
Okay.
we would include them in this process, if that helps you.
Is 27 a
No,
multi-rated?
It's a single-family house, correct?
I don't know, the zoning's weird on it. It has,
No, yours, 27.
no, I know, like,
Oh, is it more than a single family?
so it has an in-law apartment.
Okay.
When I bought it, single family, but it has 2 meters, so I've never been quite sure how to answer that question. Only have one set of trash cans too. Don't know.
Well, if it's a single family, we can help you with the enforcement, but if it's 2 and more, then it's your responsibilities. So
Okay,
we tried here.
all right. Thank you, counsel.
So you will receive a decision in writing And that will explain your rights. You do have the ability to appeal the board's decision to court.
Okay.
Court jurisdiction. And that will be spelled out for you.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Are you going to send me a ticket?
No, I already did.
Those another one?
If you want, you can have, you can actually have all that if you want. I already have copies of that.
Perfect.
But, so, the only thing I'm going to say is, I mean, granted, we have this board hearing here, so I know that today, one of the bottom two were from, maybe not. Yeah, so they have to be, you understand what I mean?
No, I get that you're doing your job, but I understand how it there's 4 feet of sidewalk.
Would you like to make public comment?
It's not out of place.
We can move them. We can move them aside.
I'm just going to identify as a gender since this is public, but I reside here. I'm opposing to him paying the fines only because I feel like the Board of Health is being biased. I can testify to many other places where, as of right now, the garbage recycles are still out, or the law says that trash should be taken within 12 hours. What happened to when the city doesn't come and collect? Those garbage are outside, and I can testify to where exactly. I feel like certain landlords are getting preferential treatments. It's not just, you shouldn't be finding one landlord because the law is for everyone. And why is it that the board go after certain people but not after certain landlords? That's my issue with this hearing regarding that, because all I keep hearing is they're supposed to be out within 12 hours, first and after. So meaning it is the duty of the city to make sure the garbage collection happen on time. So garbage are being left out for days without the city collecting those garbage, and then people are being fined for having them outside when you go outside and you see that your trash and recycle was not collected. So what do? People have to go and take care of the business. What happened when the city failed to collect recycle and garbage on time?
There is a way that they can call the Board of Health and let the Board of Health know, and it's happened to me where I live. I live off of the main street, and sometimes I think that maybe there's a new driver. Sometimes the vehicles break down. The intention would be that they pick up the trash as is scheduled.
Yeah,
But it doesn't always happen on the day of the schedule because of snow, because of ice, because of vehicles breaking down. So
I understand that part.
Okay.
But part of the reason for them saying they shouldn't be on the sidewalk is because it become a nuisance.
Yep.
But if it's for public safety, then why is it that the city cannot make sure that this is done on time? If it's for, meaning garbage should not be left outside for 2 days in the first place.
Well,
So why is it that, and you cannot, there's not a specific way of certain people to know that this is the sanitary code, this is what the city code is. The Board of Health is not up to date when it comes to the codes. So how are the people supposed to know your rights as to what is it that needs to transpire?
Well, I think this is a little bit different. This gentleman has left his trash cans out all the time. It isn't a question of, is he off 24 or 48 hours?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say, I can testify to the fact that there are landlords where you leave your trash out multiple. It's not like, okay, we take the recycle bin back within 12 hours. And how is it that one specific landlord, if it happened to be a state landlord, it's not even him, he's just happened to be one landlord. We're talking about a landlord who owns multiple units. So meaning it's not only, I feel like they target specific people versus to uphold the law. Some landlords where that fines, if they were to fine, you're talking about budget, it would help the budget, but yet they target one specific landlord versus a state landlord. I don't feel like the city have the authority implementing policy when it comes to certain state landlords. That's my issue with that, and that's my 2 minutes.
What was your last comment? Applying to certain what landlords?
What I'm trying to say is that there's residents here,
Yes.
landlord, and there are certain landlord that are state, meaning they're not just a specific landlord, they are state. So basically, how is it that they are landlord, they're supposed to respect the city's code, yet they don't respect the city code, they don't get fined, versus a landlord who's a resident here who's not under a state bracket, yet they get fined, versus a landlord who has multiple units who's not abiding by the law, yet they never get a fine.
I don't know that to be true or not true.
Right.
Matt, do you have, I don't know if that's the truth, that some people don't ever get fined and some landlords do.
So as far as my time being here, the goal is not to collect money and get fines, it's for compliance. So normally a letter that I would write out, just like I did to Mr. Chromiak, would be, I write the letter to advise him that he's in violation of a code or the law, and I give him a time frame to correct it. Most of the time, they do correct it within that time frame, so it goes away. But in the case that we just heard, it was basically ignoring and not doing anything, not a phone call to me, not even one time bringing them in or something like that, where that would create a fine to get more attention out of that person, saying that we're serious. But most of the time, one letter, advisory letter, works. So it never really has to come to that point of a fine.
So my thing is, my issue with that is as if like, okay, the board can only service certain area versus certain parts of town don't get that typical service. Meaning, because I don't have a specific case here, I'm not able to present what exactly I'm referring to. But I know that to be true, that every week the garbage are not collected because we do not know as to exactly when the garbage gonna be picked up. Sometimes we're not even advised that they're gonna be picked up. We just know the day, and when we put it out, it could be a week, 2 weeks, they never pick up, and people usually leave it out. Never did we receive anything saying that there was a violations. And I've been here for a while, and I didn't even know that we had a code 112. So how is it that someone can be here and not know that there is a code 112? So that's my issue with that. I feel like if the city wants to be clean, I don't know if they understaff, it should be everyone, any landlord shall abide by the state law. Whether this landlord happen to represent the state itself or a simple landlord, the law shall apply to every single resident. And I think it's biased. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Well, I'll just add one comment. I had not heard of this code. I've only been on the board for 1 year, and this is the first time I've heard of this fine myself. So I understand what you're saying. Maybe there's more of an opportunity for letting people know that this is a violation and that they could be fined if they're not bringing their trash cans in after the pickup.
Well, I think somehow pretty much everyone in the city knows not to leave the trash out, because when you drive around the city, you don't see trash cans out on the street. So I'm not sure when we first got these trash cans if we were told, but that's what everyone in the city does. So I think people know. And even if a person doesn't know, he's not automatically fined. He gets a warning and he gets educated. So I think the reason that Mr. Chromiak got a fine was that he got a warning, he ignored it, got another warning with a fine, ignored that, And he looks pretty young and healthy to me. I don't think it's too much work to take an empty trash barrel up and down the stairs, frankly.
But I understand the reason for this board is to make sure not only we resolve issue, at the same time, we deal with the city itself. How can you advance the betterment of the city? My thing is for you to just assume that everyone knows. We service a lot of people who are immigrants. We service second language. Just to assume, just the comment you made it seem like we should have known, versus if she herself, first time she heard, it's just an assumption that's not valid. To me, is mitigate what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to present here. Yet you can find people at the same time. The Board of Health, it is the mandate of the Board of Health to make sure that people are aware of their rights. So for you to just say that, okay, we should have known. Not many people were born in America. Many people came from elsewhere where they don't have garbage collection, and so it's new to them. So it's new that I tried to pull this up online before I came here, and I was unable to even see it. So it's not mainly about, okay, are we going to ticket someone? If you go across the city, you will see the city is dirty. It's not just out of thing. It's just out of respect. And to me, I want a clean city. So if we're serious about this, not only the Board of Health is mandated to do its part, and the people has to do their part. And in order for you to get better results is to listen to the people. So when people come and complain or voice their opinion, you take it into consideration and see how we can move forward. But when you make a blank statement like that, people should know it's just pretty much saying you're not here to resolve. You're here for a certain group, but not certain group. I don't think that's what you mean, but that's how I take it.
Yeah, I don't think that's correct. I think that...
that's how I take it. It just, to me...
I understand, but I've just told you that even if someone doesn't know, he doesn't automatically get a fine for every violation. He gets a warning, he gets instructed, he gets educated. He has the opportunity to understand that we don't leave the trash out. And so he's not automatically fined, and I think the inspectors go around the city, and if there's someone who's doing it for the first time, that person gets instructed. If someone does it multiple times, even after having been instructed, or chooses to ignore the warnings that he gets, then we will fine those people. We're with you. We want to have a clean city, too.
Because to me, it doesn't, I feel like even when you go before the board, if you have any complaints, is that everything has to be, how did we get here? How did we came from America where you can go and make complaints for change to happen? So every time you bring a complaint, it becomes something about, oh, I might lose my job, versus like, how do you rectify this issue? That's my thing. It's just like, as if like, okay, yet you guys, the board doesn't take into account that people don't know. If you go to the Board of Health and you request certain policies, it's unavailable. So how is it that they don't need to do their part and the city needs to do the people need to do their part, but not the municipal building?
Again, I think you're incorrect. I've been on this board for 10 years now.
Pretty close.
And there are many times when people come and tell me or tell the board that they don't know, and we forgive them. We're fine with that.
I'm not saying that. My thing is, shouldn't be something specific. It shouldn't be specific people. Why did we get to that point? My thing is, why can't you just resolve the issue from the beginning so we don't have to come before the board? Because we, the people, pay for this board to attend. And so why can't we get the board to have current policies available to the public as to where we are aware, and then you don't have to. I feel like it would become a thing where it's like preferential treatment if every time someone come and you will be like, okay, no, we cannot find, we're going to make sure we don't. To me, it's like, how do you rectify this based on the board? From what I understand it to be, the Board of Health, whenever you request something, they said because the previous mayor never used to do things according to policies, there are policies missing. So how is it that you blaming the people for that? So now the mayor is no longer there. How do we go forward? How can the board be up to date these days with the policies themselves? If you don't know a policy, you cannot exercise this policy because you don't know it exists. So how do we go forward as not to have the board meeting, and meanwhile, you walk around, the whole town is dirty, and if you see this place is not up to date. How do we fix this issue? So that's my thing. I'm not here to say, okay, oh, we're gonna bypass this. How do you, because I'm pretty sure when the mayor got elected, she said change, and I haven't seen this, because the best way to see if you have a leader is how dirty or clean your town is. And if you go all across town, if he's finding people, I'm asking, why is it that I cannot use this park over here, the rail trail that we pay millions for, but it's dirty? We have overloaded trash. Why do we find the city for this too? So why is it that the city only finding the people versus the city? It's not taking accountability for the lack of services that the city provide.
No, we've discussed this in the past. There are unfortunately individuals who have no respect for the environment and litter and throw their garbage out, and so we're aware of that. We certainly encourage people to pick up their garbage. The mayor used to go around and on Saturdays and clean up garbage with crews. I think trying to set an example for what we should all do. But we can't look at every person every day. So those who we find are offending and who are littering and putting their trash out, eventually, if we can identify them, then we will find them. But certain things are common sense. I mean, I know some people come from countries where they didn't have the luxury of having garbage collection, and so I'm not criticizing them. It just didn't exist that they had that support. But it is here, and I think it doesn't take long for people to realize that we all want to keep the environment clean. We appreciate your comments anyway.
Maybe it's a nice segue. If you don't mind, I will make the announcement, the last item on the agenda. It sort of addresses a lot of what the resident spoke to.
Sure.
If there's any objection.
No.
The city has recently hired a municipal hearing officer. That position will be a position in which hears tickets. So the tickets and violations will not be heard by the board anymore. They will actually be appealed to the municipal hearing officer. It's a result of the city council adopting Mass General Law 40U. 40U allows the city to send violations and tickets in relation to items such as trash stored improperly on properties, as well as trash and litter in barrels, as you've seen at the curb. So there will be a press release. It will be going out very shortly. Hopefully that press release will go out into many avenues as possible to help educate folks that this process is in place and we're taking it serious. And enforcement is going to pick up for items, ironically, for the issue that we've heard at the beginning of the agenda. So a lot more information to come, as well as a press release on providing education on these items. Thank you.
Thanks. Well, if that, I think, ends the hearing request on the agenda. There's a petitioner request. Is that something that is going forward, or?
Well, I just would like to provide an update. Since the last meeting, we have not received any complaints, and I or staff, I believe, have not noticed any offensive odors. So I don't know if it's the cold weather that's not allowing the problem, but we haven't had a problem. And the last complaint on record was actually on New Year's Eve. So we've gone several months without a complaint. The New Year's Eve complaint, I was not able to verify it. I didn't get out there for a few hours, so the issue may have resolved itself within that time frame. But that is still a council petition by Councilor Kuchar. So I didn't want to take it off the agenda because I wanted folks to be aware that we're still monitoring the situation. However, I should let folks know that Greif is closing.
Right.
Greif is going down to limited staff, I believe in May, and ultimately closing towards October or the end of the year. So I just, I don't know if that rectifies this problem, but I just wanted to share that information.
No, I agree with you. I'm a little disappointed to hear that that's happening because it's another town industry that's leaving, and I think they employed about close to 60 people, so there'll be some jobs lost, I would expect. Yeah, I paid a visit to Greif. I did detect an odor of wet paper, but I didn't get sewage, which I think has been the complaint. Yeah, I'm sorry that they're closing. I'm not sure quite why. I think they made every effort that they could to control any odors that might have been coming from their plant. But it will be interesting to see once their operations cease if that puts an end to it, or I mean that will eliminate one potential source, I think. So yeah, it's Fitchburg's been known for its paper making, and I think this is just another loss of history that Greif is leaving. But and I'll just add to you had one complaint on New Year's Eve. I think at the last or a couple of meetings ago, I gave my card to some of the residents and asked that they call me if the odors were detectable, and no one did. It's been probably 3 months. No one has called me, so either they thought it was going to be a bother and didn't want to call me, or it wasn't a problem. But I didn't hear anything that there was any trouble with odor out there. So does that take care of the petition request? Okay.
For now, I will have to prepare a response to the city council at some point, but I've, as you know, we've appeared and discussed it with the city council a couple of times, so I will find out from Councilor Kuchar on what he's looking for from this board.
Okay.
We will continue to monitor the situation, obviously.
All right.
I have a question, Steve. Did you already get that, the odor detector person who was going to be coming from another state? Has that person already come in to do an assessment?
We've decided, or the mayor and the DPW commissioner decided that it wasn't necessary at this time to continue on with that contractor.
Okay.
Certainly the opportunity is still there if we'd like to visit,
Yep.
but no, they stopped that process, so we will not have that third party at this time.
Thank you.
And actually, before we leave that petition request, did the resident have a comment about that as well, or did we cover that in the first session?
I think you just answered my question because I think you just answered my question because I thought that was a resident, and I tried to poll this, and I didn't know that this was a business. I thought that was a resident. I tried to pull all the information here, but now that you made the comment that that's a business, I think you answered my question in a way.
Yeah, they make cardboard.
I understand the agenda said there's going to be a vote here today. It said annual vote for Board of Health Chair.
So every February, the board needs to appoint or reappoint a chairperson. Right now, there's only 2 members, so that's up to the board to make a decision whether they want to table the issue until there's a 3rd member, or just go ahead with a reappointment. That's up to these 2 fine members.
So if you were going to reappoint the board chair, which is Dr. Bogdasarian, we would need another person, is that what you're saying? It would take 3 people to make that? But as I understand...
It's a 2/3 vote, yes.
So as I understand it, Dr. Bogdasarian is going to be continuing as our chair until he's going to be reinstated by the mayor. Apparently, that's going to be happening as the chair.
Well, this board determines the chair. The mayor determines who belongs on the membership.
She determines, the mayor determines who's on the board. I think the board determines chair. If you certainly, if you would like to table that and wait until the board is fully staffed, that's perfectly fine with me. I have...
That could take quite a while, but you're willing to continue in your role until that happens?
I'm happy to do it, yes, but I don't want to come across as appearing that it has to be I who does it, or that you know, you can't. If you, but I'm very pleased to do it, but it's if you want to do it. But I think want to wrestle and see who has to do it.
No, I've only been here 1 year. I think I'm not, you know, in event of an emergency or something, I would be able to help out, but I'm not interested in taking over that role.
Well, why don't we, how to put this, why don't we continue as is then until we are fully staffed, and then we can always revisit it at that point, if that would be reasonable.
Is that acceptable to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll take that as a unanimous vote. It makes sense.
Well, FY26 budget, is that something?
I'm just going to throw some heavy numbers at you really quickly, and I'll give you a summary, if you wouldn't mind passing that down to...
I've got one.
Oh,
I've got one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you have it already available as well. So on the first page, this is the...
Karen's been quiet. She could be the chairman. But you don't want me taking the minutes, so you better leave it as...
Exactly.
Very briefly, we have proposed a budget to the mayor. We have met with the mayor and the finance team. Before you, you see actual numbers from expenditures from FY21 up to FY24 of the actual expenditures. Then the next, second to last column is projected FY25 numbers. So that would be what we think we're going to spend for this fiscal year. And then there's a proposal at the very last column for FY26, effective July 1st, 2025. Basically, I will just point out some of the changes from FY25 to 26, and there is not a lot of change. One issue is our weights and measures inspector and scale master. He is also a regional inspector, so he wears 3 hats. Unfortunately, this year, our scale master has been out with multiple surgeries, been out most of the fiscal year. So this position, which is actually the scale master has been out. The scale master is at the landfill. The weights and measures inspector has been forced to cover for the scale master. And it's been an extensive amount of time, and it's probably going to remain that way until the end of April. And the reason why I mention that is because the weights and measures portion of the position, as well as the scale master position, are city-funded. His third hat is actually the regional inspector, which is 50% of his job, and is grant-funded. So I guess the point I'm trying to make there is we're going to show a huge expenditure on the city side under that position simply because we can't charge grants, because he's not functioning on the grants, he's functioning at another duty that's city-funded. Other changes, the substance abuse coordinator will be, right now is paid 100% by our Mass Call 3 grant. We will be changing that position to 50% Mass Call 3 grant and 50% opioid settlement funds. The board did approve a budget back in January.
Right.
So that brings in some new funds to the personal services. The street outreach worker, which works under the substance abuse coordinator, will actually, at this present time, is funded by ARPA funds. ARPA funds run out at the end of this fiscal year. The street outreach worker will be funded by 100% by opioid settlement funds.
What was the first thing you said? I couldn't understand that. The funding now is what?
He's
Aqua?
funded by ARPA, which is
ARPA.
the American Rescue funds that were released back in FY23, I believe. And that was a large chunk of funds that the city received. And it was treated much like the CDBG block grant program. Folks were allowed to apply for funds.
Yep.
In fact, a good example of the funds, ARPA funds, are the renovation at the library. Much of the ARPA funds have funded that repair. And one of the projects proposed was from us, and that was the street outreach worker. So now once those ARPA funds run out, we needed to find a way to fund that, and timing was perfect for opioid settlement funds, and really that's what he does on a daily basis, so it fit in quite nicely.
And that was going to be, was it, I'm trying to remember the number, was it like $80,000, $90,000 a year from the Pittsburgh's part of that, or am I way off on the settlement funds?
Settlement funds?
Yeah. It was over a 10-year period, I think.
It's actually funded until 2038.
Yeah.
Right now, it started being funded in FY24. Right now, we have about $810,000. So the initial funding was quite large. I believe it was in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. And then annually after FY26, I believe it goes down to somewhere around $60,000 to $70,000 a year up until 2038. So you bring up a good point that we need to, the folks that are funded by that are definitely going to have to, we're going to have to get creative in future years to continue to fund the duties that they do. Because opioid settlement funds, they're there, but they're just not going to be able to fund what they can right now. If that makes sense.
Gotcha. Yep.
So ultimately, that is the biggest change. There is an increase in overtime. Most of the overtime funds are landfill funds. Coverage at the scale house. The scale house is open 6:30 to 3:30 daily, and on Saturday as well, 6 days a week. So it's open. So it's open more than 7.5 hours, which are 8 hours a day for a regular worker. So the rest of the time is paid for by overtime, which will increase because salaries increase annually as far as contractual positions, if that makes sense.
Steve, this is coming from left field a little bit, do you know what the total number of city employees is, the Pittsburgh employees?
I do not. I want to say somewhere around 1,200, but I don't know how accurate that is.
Does that include the schools?
Yes.
Around 1,200?
That's a guess.
I think it's more than that.
Yeah, it might be.
That would be my guess, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that question until now.
Steve, what is the Mass Call 3 coordinator?
So that is a newly hired position. That position is 100% grant and is actually funded for the purpose of preventing youth use. So that position is working very closely with the schools and trying to reduce misuse and abuse of drugs, alcohol, and whatever else is identified by surveys, if that makes, trying to be really brief. Does that cover the question? If I'm being too brief, please let me know.
So there's somebody in that position
That is
right now?
correct. That is Zulai Fernandez.
Eli?
Zulai. Yeah.
Okay.
She became in the position, I believe she was appointed by this board in August of last
Come in
summer.
with Sue?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the bottom shows of the personal services, shows the many grants. Right now, we're funded, this year or next year we'll be funded about $120,000 from CDBG for code enforcement, which covers one inspector as well as a half of a admin support, half of a position, 50%. And then the mass call grant gives us 1.5 positions. And then the ARPA funds, which runs out, has given us a full-time street outreach worker. And then at the bottom, we have opioid settlement funds, which will come into play very shortly.
So when they're in red and in parentheses, does that mean it's...
So the grant
granted?
is actually filling in the salaries up above. So the full salaries up above, and the amount of the grant directed at the salary is taken out at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Just wanted to...
So...
One of the ARPA funds from the state was how we started the outreach position. That was a one-year funds dedicated from the state. Actually, Representative Kushmerik was instrumental in getting us those funds. So that's how we started the street outreach worker position, and getting creative every year
Great.
on how to keep that position. And then the SAPC and OD2A grants were also grants from DPH for substance abuse. Those have run out. The MIM grant was a mass in motion grant that actually ran out in FY22. MOPSI was the opioid abuse prevention grant, which ran out in FY21. And then we never did actually get any FEMA CARES Act funding. But because there was an expenditure in 21, it has to remain on there until the years pass, and then it fades away.
What does longevity mean on this?
So many of the employees are on unions. They are entitled to pay based on their years of service.
Oh.
I believe it is in increments. 5 years of service receives a dollar amount, 10 years of service, and then it goes up all the way to 15 years service. So anything else that doesn't make sense or is unclear in the personal services?
No.
Not a lot of change. Just same faces, just different way to pay them, more or less. On the second page is the expenditures of the department. Again, not a lot of change. The one that appears to have a lot of change is actually mileage. This is a reimbursement for those inspectors and folks that drive they're reimbursed. It does appear that there's a significant increase from FY '24 to FY '25 and '26.
Yep.
But it's actually, grants are funding that, so it essentially looks like it's going from 17 to 39,000, but there are grants below that cover that, that cover the large increase, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Basically the same grants that fund the positions. Any questions on that portion of it? The next section is the nursing and the communicable disease division. We currently do not have a public health nurse
I was
on
gonna
staff.
say, yeah.
Yeah. Our public health excellence grant actually requires us to have a public health nurse. So we have taken the public health nurse off the general fund. Once that position is hired, it will be 100% grant paid. That would be a significant change. We also have a school nurse on our budget. I'm sorry, Dr. Dean.
No, just going to say, the reason we don't have a public health nurse is are we advertising for one?
We will be advertising it probably after budget season. I've had discussions with the mayor, and she agrees, let's work out the budget, and once the dust settles on the budget, we'll move forward with trying to comply with the grant to make sure we have a public health nurse. Right now, our epidemiologist and crews are basically covering a lot of the duties of the public health nurse and doing a wonderful job. Epidemiologist is actually 100% paid by the Public Health Excellence Grant as well. As I started to say, we do have a school nurse under our budget. So we fund one school nurse annually, and that school nurse is a traveling school nurse. So it can't be on the net school spending, it has to be in the city budget, and fits quite nicely in the health department. Actually, at one time, when I first started, all the school nurses were under the Board of Health budget, but
So there is a school nurse in that position right now?
there is, yes.
And she travels to all the schools?
Yes, her duties have changed. Before I said anything stupid, I would like to reach out to her and see exactly what she's doing now, and I can report back on that position.
Yeah, okay.
I don't get to see that face every day like I do everybody else.
I imagine she has to take calls from all the schools and deal with medical problems that come up every day. I'm
Correct.
sure it keeps her busy.
We do have one more year of the disease investigation grant, which is covering what was previously our contact traces for COVID. We still have 5 employees. They are remote employees, and they are covering disease investigations and various other projects for Fitchburg as well as 12 other towns in the public health network. And they are 100% grant funded.
All these grants that you're mentioning, they come from the state? From
Yes.
various departments?
Ultimately, I believe some of them are federal, but
Yeah.
we receive them from the state.
I guess what I'm saying is they're not from
Yeah.
private organizations, they're all state or
Correct.
they're governmental
Yeah.
in some way, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, we don't know how, especially community development block grant, still sort of up in the air on how the new administration is going to affect block grant funding and whether that trickles down to us. The department relies quite heavily on its inspection staff block grant, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. No questions, I will move on. The last page is a whole bunch of big numbers. The first one is contract fees collection. That is the curbside collection, what it costs the city to pick up trash at curbside. That is a contractual increase. Basically, that number covers duties of collecting the trash as well as bulk items. Folks can make an appointment with the health department to have a bulk item picked up. We charge the residents exactly what the contractor charges us to pick up a bulk item. A bulk item is considered a piece of furniture called a couch.
Mattresses?
Mattresses are now a waistband item, which means they cannot be placed in the landfill. Residents need to make an appointment with, luckily we have a company in the city that actually recycles them, Tough Stuff.
Yeah.
And you can make an appointment with, you can either bring it to Tough Stuff, there is a fee, or you can have it collected by Tough Stuff. You can also purchase a pass to bring it to our landfill. We can't landfill it, obviously, but we can store it and make sure it gets to Tough Stuff.
Okay. And so you said large pieces of furniture, like maybe chairs, couches. What about appliances?
Appliances cannot be collected as part of that program. Same deal for appliances. Like mattresses, appliances, you need to recycle them. So there is a program at the landfill to deposit appliances, stoves. There is a fee,
Yeah, okay.
additional fee, because the landfill has to arrange a recycling company to come get these items once they're dropped off.
Okay.
Clear as mud?
Clearer
Is
than
that
that.
the case for like big TVs that are not smart
Yep.
TVs?
TV is,
that
a
sort of
TV and a computer monitor is also a waistband item, which means you can't landfill that.
thing? You can?
You cannot.
Cannot?
No.
I didn't think so.
So again, there's an area at the landfill. I believe the closest company that will accept them for a fee is Raw Material Recovery in Gardner. Otherwise, you can bring them to the landfill. Depending on the side of the TV, there's a fee to dispose them as well.
Okay.
There's more and more waistband items.
Good education, Steve, putting all that information out there for anybody who wants to watch the meetings.
Well, we can go on for days on waistbands, things you can't dispose of.
Good to know
It's good that people can get them to the landfill, though, and that they have to pay at the landfill, but it's better than just putting them out on the street and letting them sit there.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that is how the inspectors actually travel the streets and look for things like that and try to educate the resident. If there's a stove out, they'll order the stove to be removed, obviously, and then propose ways to properly dispose of it. And unfortunately, it costs money these days to dispose.
Yes, yep.
that. And medications are not on here, but there are a couple of periods during the year, I think, when people can drop their medications.
So we actually do have a kiosk at the Fitchburg Police Station. They're at actually every police station in the Montezuma Public Health, 13 communities. We also, so you can dispose of medication, unwanted and unused medications at this, in the lobby of the police station, 24/7. We also hold 2 collection days. The next one is coming up in April, actually. I should have announced it. The date has been announced. I believe it's April 26th, but I'll have to double check. We will advertise that and put it out on social media very shortly. But 2 events, one in April, one in October, where folks can drive up right in front of this building and drop off their unused and unwanted medications. Kiosks also have, in the lobby at the police station, also have the ability to dispose of sharps and needles and items like that. And the landfill also does collect those items, sharps. Not medications, but sharps.
Sharps, yeah.
So we do have a kiosk at the police station, and we do have a kiosk at the Community Health Center up on Nichols Road for sharps. The medication has to be under the supervision of the police, but the sharps are a little bit more free on how you can dispose of them.
Good to know.
The third, maintenance and supplies, curbside, that is basically fee. Many of the barrels that are out at curb today are, we started the program in 2012, so some of these barrels are 13 years old.
Beat up.
So they're, they had a 10-year warranty and they made it, but some of them are cracking and we ultimately have to replace them after a while. And the maintenance and supplies curbside fund helps us keep an inventory of replacement barrels for those that break. Residents can also purchase additional trash recycling barrels for if they can't stay within the free system. There are additional fees. You can purchase a trash cart for a year. Annually, it's $100. It's basically $60 for the trash barrel, cost of the barrel, as well as the cost of trash that goes in it for 1 year. Recycling is recycling barrels. You can purchase extras for one-time $60 cost, which covers the cost of the barrel.
So theoretically, someone could have 3 or 4, I mean, if you wanted to pay for them, could
You
have 3 or
could.
4 recycling barrels up.
Yeah. Yeah, if the free portion of the system doesn't fit the needs, there are options. Unfortunately, there's fees associated, but there are options.
Fair enough.
Next item is the contract services landfill disposal. That line item covers basically what it costs to dispose of trash from the trash collection trucks, as well as what residents throw in the dumpsters at the landfill. About $47 a ton it costs the city, which is a wonderful fee. Most communities are around $100 a ton. We have a cheap deal. That's going to stick there till 2032. When 2032 comes, it's going to get very interesting.
So there's a dumpster at the landfill?
There is a landfill.
People can just bring trash instead of getting it picked up at their house?
Correct.
Oh.
So you can purchase a residential pass. Property owners can purchase a residential pass for $35 a year. It is a sticker that you can place on your vehicle, and you can access the landfill to dispose of trash, extra trash, free of charge once you pay the $35. But as I mentioned, some of the items have additional fees.
Yeah,
Such as not bulk items, but stoves and mattresses. Appliances, yes.
electronic
Oh,
things.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then airport land rent. Airport land rent is what AKS Recycling operates off of. It's a transfer station off of Cobbler Drive, which is off of Airport Road. They actually operate on an old city landfill, which is Blueberry Lane landfill. It was a landfill that ran from 1968 to 1971. AKS pays rent to the city for us for the use of that land, and ultimately we reimburse the airport
Okay,
that amount. And then the closed landfill maintenance fund, you'll see an increase in that line item as we have recently signed a contract to maintain that Blueberry landfill, wow, I can't say it, Blueberry Lane landfill that AKS operates on. We have contracted for services to install well monitoring, gas monitoring. Hopefully there is not a lot of that. The landfill is 50 years old, so we're hoping we don't see any surprises. But
yeah.
the increase is due to once these monitoring wells are installed, I believe upwards of 10 or 12 of my off the top of my head, it escapes me, but we will have to maintain them, and we have contracted to maintain them as well as read what these, the results of what they're producing, and then we would have to address those issues if need be. But that would bring that landfill into closure compliance according to the Department of Environmental Protection, which is a great step that the city has taken over the years. And then the final item is the cleanup and board and secure fund. This is a fund we ultimately use to run our city cleanups in the spring, as well as clean and lean. If a property owner fails to clean up their property with an order, we can contract to get the job done, utilize these funds, and reimburse the city, reimburse itself by placing a lien on the property. We also try to keep vacant buildings secure using this fund. So if a property owner fails to comply with an order to secure a vacant property to keep vandals and vagrants out, we will actually contract out to get somebody to secure the property, board and secure it. And that before you is the exciting discussion of the budget.
Well, it kind of tells me that a city just doesn't run. It has to be run.
Yeah.
And that's what this is, I think. Yeah, super. Well, thanks very much. Is there anything, do we need a motion with regard to
I
this?
think a vote to deny or approve would be helpful. It is ultimately the board's
Yeah.
budget. I like to call it mine, but it's not.
Well, I would make a motion that we approve this budget that you've submitted to us for 2026.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
I have one question, Steve, on this, on the, it was on the cleanup board secure funds.
Yes.
So if there's a piece of property that somebody lives at and they can't, for some reason, manage to pick up all the trash there, this fund will help to get that picked up, and then you put a lien on the property so until what they pay the amount that it costs to clean it up? Or?
Yes. It would accrue some fees, obviously, because it costs the city to record a fund, but we would reimburse ourselves whatever those costs are by placing a lien on the property. But yes, the answer to your question is yes, we could clean a property.
Thank you.
That makes sense.
Well, I guess next on the agenda would be approving the meeting minutes of December 5th, January 9th, and January 23. I had a chance to look through them, and I didn't personally see anything that I thought needed to be changed or that was incorrect. I don't know, Diane,
No, I read them
You did,
also,
yeah.
yeah.
did you want to make them?
I make a motion that we approve those meeting minutes. Aaron, thank you.
I'll second that. Yep. And as far as announcements go, I think you already made the announcement.
I did, and just so folks are aware, 40U will be coming in, hot and heavy. Folks will be out there trying to clean up the city. As you know, once the snow melts, it exposes a lot of
It does.
debris and litter, and this time of the year is the city is especially dirty, and we're going to try to help speed up the cleanliness process. We will be doing some cleanups in April. I'll share those dates. Some of the dates are already out there. I believe the mayor advertised them, but they will start in April and go ward by ward up until May on Saturdays. So look out for that information.
Sounds good. Nice to have a clean city. Well, if that concludes our business, then I could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second that?
Okay, the meeting is adjourned.